Thanks for being here today. For your do now, I wanted you to explain some of the differences between classical and Keynesian economics. Now, the major difference between these two is the perspective on the government's role in the economy. Classical economists would say it's not the government's job to be fixing things. They set up the systems, they create fair playing fields, they let people do what they want. It's not their job to go in and tinker and manage the economy. The economy does what it does. Things are going bad, it'll fix itself. Things are going good, good. Keynesian economics says no, it's the government's job to sort of guide and control the economy and make sure it's going the right way. They still want people to have some freedom, but within certain bounds. Um, and they want to um, keep the economy going in the right direction. Right? But this comes at a cost. Cost is the loss of freedom and comes at the price of the economics. It slows things down. Today we're going to be talking about fiscal policy, which is the one of the ways the U.S. government can influence the economy. It's the main way. Now this is controlled by Congress. I know we spent a lot of time talking about, well, what's the president going to do? What does Biden think? What is Trump doing? Um, and the president can suggest, can influence fiscal policy, but ultimately it's Congress who has to create this. Um, Congress is going to use its control over the economy to try and benefit the people and keep the economy strong. They have two major tools to do this. They can't just write a law that says everyone can be successful and make the economy better. They have to pass laws that hopefully make the economy better. So they have sort of two tools they can use. The first one is they can spend money on government programs, and there are thousands of government programs they can spend money on. They can choose to increase that spending or decrease the spending, or they can tax people. They can raise taxes and lower. There's lots of different types of taxes and ways to do it, um, but they can use that. They can raise or lower any sort of tax. Um, the way to think about these two things are like a gas pedal and a brake. Right? You're driving a car. You want to hit the gas. You want to speed up. When Congress wants to speed up the economy, they're going to spend money. They're going to hit that gas pedal, make things go. When they want to slow it down, they're going to hit the brakes. They're going to start taxing people. Spending helps. Spending boosts the economy. It speeds things up. Taxing slows it down. It hurts things. So they're going to use these two tools to try and get the economy moving or to slow it down, depending on what's going on. So we'll start with spending. Spending is used to expand the economy, expand your GDP. Government spending always helps. It's always a good thing. It's never bad. Now, you may not agree with how it's being spent, or it's a good use of money, or another could be doing better things, but it's never straight up bad. It never hurts the economy, at least. This can be spent on a lot of things. There's a lot of money spent on education, infrastructure like bridges and tunnels and railroads, healthcare, the military, retirement. There's lots of things they spend money on. They're spending trillions of dollars every year, so lots of things to spend money on. If the government wants to speed things up, you spend more money. Increase spending in some of these different categories um, to help the economy, but also help maybe things like education and better bridges, and that'll be helpful too. Taxes are going to contract the economy. They're going to slow it down. Taxes always hurt. Remember our supply and demand. When you put in a new tax, it always hurts the supply. It's always going to slow things down. Different kinds of tax: income tax, sales tax, property tax. If the government wants to slow the economy down, if things are going too fast, inflation's getting out of control, they might have to put in some new taxes to slow things down a bit, keep them under control. All right, so we're going to answer some questions on the Pear Deck throughout today, so you'll be pausing this video when necessary. I want you to explain to me how spending and taxes impact the economy. Kind of summarize what we just talked about. So the policies that Congress pass when things are tough, when things aren't going well, the economy's not doing good. right? The government looks at their indicators and say things aren't going well. Well, they're going to spend more money and tax less. They're going to create new programs to help people. They're going to hire new people. They're going to expand all their spending. That's all good for people. They're also going to lower taxes, which means people get to keep their money, right, and spend it and save it. Right? All these things are good for the economy. Essentially, the government is hitting that gas pedal, taking their foot off the brake. They're going to try and speed things up. Unfortunately, there's a side effect: debt. The government has to go into debt to do this. So when times are tough, the government goes into debt to get the economy going again. When times are good, we're going to do the opposite. We're going to cut back on our spending, tax a little bit more. Right? Less government spending slows things down. You cut back on $1 billion out of the economy, it's going to slow it down. Companies are going to make less money. People aren't going to be getting government assistance as much. And it slows everything down a bit. You're also going to tax people a little bit more, take their money so they can't quite spend as much. This is going to keep the economy from going too fast. The fear is if it goes too fast, it'll crash. It goes really fast for a long time, then ultimately it all falls apart. This is where the government runs a surplus. They make more money to pay off the debt that they just got from the bad times. The idea is that the good times are longer than the bad. So you're going to make more money through these taxes to pay off whatever debt you make. It's not always what the government does. We're going to talk about tomorrow. The government seems to always spend and never hit the brakes. And it's going to lead to our national debt and some big problems. Our next question: does this seem like a good way for Congress to influence the economy? Why or why not? Give me a few sentences explaining your thoughts. Now, sometimes things aren't just about the money, right? Some things are worth it, even though it's going to maybe hurt our economy. But if we are talking about expansion or contraction, the benefit of the spending has to outweigh the harm of the taxes. So if we're going to have to raise taxes to spend for a program, the benefit has to outweigh the cost. Kind of like we talked with economic regulation. You don't want to overspend. So imagine the government wants to provide food for everyone. That sounds good. Everyone should be able to eat. Government should have food for those who are struggling. But if they're taxing people $10,000 a week to pay for this, that makes absolutely no sense, right? The economic cost outweighs the benefit. And the problem with fiscal policy is a lot of that economic cost comes 10 years down the line. So we have to be paying attention to the costs that we're incurring, this debt we're creating. Is it worth it in the future to have to pay that off? All right, so next question: if the government wanted to expand the economy, do you think it's better to lower taxes or increase spending? Which one would you pick and why? Pause this video. Next, do you think this event will expand or contract the economy? And why do you think it? The government increases property tax and cuts back on summer school programs. Pause this video. Now we got a different event. They lower income taxes, but government spending stays the same. What's going to happen? Next, the government increases income tax on businesses and wealthy Americans and increases spending on bridges, railroads, roads, things like that. So there's this weird thing when we spend, all spending is helpful, but some is better than others. Right? Spending money in certain things helps the economy more than others. So you could spend money hiring people to dig holes. That's great. People make more money. You're hiring lots of people. There's jobs. But that's not really as beneficial as, say, like investing in education or into healthcare that have other benefits besides just giving people jobs. I call this the multiplier. So when the government spends money, that money goes to Americans, companies who turn around and spend it again, and hire more people, who buy more things, who help companies, who hire more people, right? And can multiply through the economy. So where you spend your money and how you spend it can have long-term effects. So, which one do you think has a bigger economic benefit? Spending money on education or healthcare? And why? There are several different types of taxes that influence the economy differently. There's income tax. This is money taken out of your paycheck. It is progressive. That means the more you make, the higher percentage you have to pay. There's corporate income tax. This is taxes taken from the profits of companies. Sales tax, tax on things you buy. Property tax is a tax on things you own, like houses and cars. If the government wanted to contract the economy, do you think they should tax people's incomes or their properties? And why do you think so? In the last few minutes of class, we got a link to play a game. Um, we'll also play this game tomorrow. It's called Fiscal Ship, where you're going to try and keep the economy afloat.